Does everyone have a fresh cocktail? Yes, I hope so. We are all civilized, right? Hey, everybody. Hello, Linda. Hello, Linda from Jersey, Massachusetts. Hey, Joelle, Jennifer, Mom, Anne Marie. So there are different people on tonight. Let me check this out. This is what I was hoping was that more people would be able to come on live. And can you hear me okay? Can't drink, but a cup of anything works great. It's just, it's like placebo. Something in the hand works great. Hey, Chris from Ontario. I hope it's not super late. No, it's not super late. You're right above, right? Whiskey sour. Very nice. I've got this drink that I posted. Hey, Olivia. Olivia, wait a minute. It's really late, right? It's really late. Okay, wait a minute. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 1 a.m. Okay, midnight. So you're only 5 hours ahead. That's still okay. Hey, Lily, you got your wine. You're done with work for today? Lily, I love that thing you posted in Red Cooking Buy and Sell, the little like historic looking girl with the frame of rug hooks. That is a super nice pattern. I'm really thinking about that. Cheers, my dears. Cheers, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm guessing a lot of the people on tonight are people who are working like traditional 9-to-5 type jobs. And if that's the case, I hope it's Friday for you. And I hope it's a good one. You're right on the threshold, right on the bridge to the evening. Where is ribbon candy? Oh my gosh, good question. Well, this is probably from 3 Christmases ago. So if I get horribly sick, we're going to know why. But, the Vermont Country Store sells it from their catalog. I get it sometimes from all the old candies that they sell. It's insanely and criminally expensive, but I think of it as a once a year thing. If you have a candy store, like an old timey Main Street kind of candy store, they're going to have it already. I don't know. I haven't seen the Christmas displays yet at like pharmacies. So I think it's still a mail order thing, unless you're as disgusting as I am and you have 3-year-old candy in the cupboard. Comes to the rescue every time. But I figure it's just sugar, right? It doesn't go bad. Is that, although when I made that Pez video that night to help with the stitching, I ate Pez from like the 1960s because I thought candy didn't go bad and I was terribly sick. Easy for you to, oh, you don't have to sneak, Lily. I'm glad. It's nicer when you don't have to sneak. Sometimes it's nice to sneak, though. My drink is super sugary and minty because the ribbon candy, the reason I call the brand ribbon candy is because the way that ribbon candy looks is how your loops are supposed to look, traditionally supposed to look in your backing. So I thought it was a good name. I thought it was a cute name, too. But I've had a crazy day today. It's been another day. Brenda, you sent me the funniest. Brenda is not on Facebook, and she sends me the funniest mail to my Gmail. And yesterday when I said in the video that I had been busier than a one-eyed cat watching 9 mouse holes, she immediately sent me a link to a web page that was like hundreds of sayings that began with, I have been busier than. The thing is with that expression, I know you can think of at least 2 more, and they're like usually not appropriate. So I try not to say them on camera, but they're all super funny. And I was just, it's a bad use of time looking at those kinds of pages, but super funny. But I have been that busy again. It has been such a day because you know what happened? Remember how the other day, well, over the weekend, I found that amazing Pearl McGowan rug that's called Elf's Delight with that really feathery border. It got me going. And so I went and looked on Facebook Marketplace late last night at like midnight, and somebody had just posted a bunch of hooked rugs in Longmeadow near Springfield, Massachusetts, which is like just under an hour for me. So I wrote to her right away last night, and she wrote back this morning. I was kind of sweating it out overnight, but she said they're all available. And she was asking $25 each for them. So naturally, it's not as good as it sounds, so don't get upset. I drove over there today. That was like the thing that overarched the day. It was the theme of the whole day, was driving over to check out these rugs. And they were interesting rugs, but they were super dirty. And, it is what it is. Like, okay, they're underfoot, they're dirty. They were a little bit beyond dirty. And the 2 that I got were 2 special ones. And the others I just had to leave because it's only $25, but it's just more stuff too, right? If I'm not going to use them on the floor and I'm not going to display them. The thing about these rugs that was so odd was that they are Pearl McGowans, and I know it, right? Linda, it's like it could have gone either way, but the 2 I got, you're going to like. I'm going to show you. They're good ones, but the other ones, I'm just saying, even if you're in Springfield, they weren't like the best ones I've seen. Hi, Margaret. Thanks for doing happy hour. Usually you can't make it from a hooker in Minnesota. Exactly. I'm trying to get some stuff that's, I'm bridging because Olivia's all the way in Ireland. And then we've got a lot of Canada in different time zones. And then we've got West Coast. So it's hard to make that sweet spot in the middle, but we'll figure it out. We'll do more and more stuff together because it's nice to be together. But these rugs were so strange because they were definitely Proma gowns. And that period of mid-century rug is typically hooked in a really narrow, like 3, 4, that kind of thing. These were like 8s and above. And that I just haven't seen that. It was like there was no shading, but there was also not that beautiful, quaint, primitive quality to them. It kind of missed the mark both ways. But I picked up 2 of them. So I want to show them to you because the 2 that I got, one is definitely a Proma gown. And, I wrote to... Thank you, Linda. Remember to click the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. It really helps me out with the channel. I've noticed this month I've had something like 250 new subscribers. And it makes a big difference because as soon as I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, and as soon as I'm at 1,000 subscribers, it means that when I want to take you with me to Haley's Place, Loop by Loop, her rug cooking shop in Warren, Rhode Island, or somewhere else to do a live video, I can do that then. With 100 subscribers, you get like new rules. Life is just like that, isn't it? You have to wait till you get to the next level to get the new rules. So this is the Proma gown. And I sent an email to Lisanne Miller at Cushing because I know she's always really, hey, Elizabeth, forthcoming and helpful about helping people identify because she's got, after Proma gowns, whole collection of designs, remember from the other day, was sold to Old Sturbridge Village. They kind of tapered out in sales and popularity, and then they were bought up by Cushing. So Cushing owns them, and Lisanne is at Cushing. So she's got all those. So I sent her an email and said, can you identify this one? It's not as good as it looks, but it's still okay. Can you kind of see that? It's a geometric with floral. It's big. This woman had it in 2 sizes. This is the smaller one, but I'm hoping I'm not glitching because it's really pretty colors. It's a pretty big rug. It's bigger than what I wanted, but for $25, right? I mean, come on. And the funny thing about this rug is if you all have like the vintage swatch sets, hey, Jennifer, I try. It's the more drinks I have, the less of a wealth I'll be, but we'll see how it goes. But the thing about this, it's so funny. I have a lot of those vintage swatches. I know, another bargain. From like Donna's store, Whispering Hill in Woodstock. And I have a bunch of the vintage ones. And I know Cushing's colors anyway, because I have all the Cushing colors. But what's so funny about this rug is that these 4 colors are like 4 of the main, like the rust, the ochre, the sage green, and the dark gray set are like 4 of the main swatch colors. But you can see it's not in super great condition and it's super wide cut. But it's still, I think, really pretty, really pretty. I mean, they were all pretty. Some were prettier than others. This is the one I really want to show you. I think this one is so neat. I don't think that this is a Pearl McGowan, but I will ask Lisanne as soon as she gets back to me. I don't want to be a total pest and stalker right out of the gate, but because I friended her at the same time, which is a bit stalky, but I figured, we're both rug hookers and maybe that's okay. But this is the one I really like. It's a runner and it's old. I think this one is much older. Also 25. This is a Scrappy Pappy, right? Like a hit or miss. I'll show you the bottom of it. Right. It's quite long. But the neat thing about this, right? So these are for beginners. It's called a hit or a miss because you do the part that's sort of dictated, the part with the pattern, the flowers. If it even is a commercial pattern and not a hand-drawn pattern, which I have not, I just got them this afternoon, so I haven't determined that. But these parts are called hit or miss. Because it's either a hit or you miss. You put in colors and it's either great or not so great. Very quilt-like, it is. And that's the thing is, this could be a Pearl McGowan. I've just never seen anything like it. It looks way too primitive. All the books we've been looking at lately where they show you so many rugs that are based on geometrics and quilt designs. And remember that last book we looked at, it said that people would typically in the 20th century, early to mid, put their geometric rugs in the kitchen and save their fancy feathery scroll floral rugs for the better rooms where you'd have company. So that is interesting. That's an interesting twist. Late to the party, better late than never, Penny. Good to see you. But I love this rug. And it's there's a little secret in this rug too that is so neat. the woman who I was buying them from, they were at her storage unit. She'd cleared somebody's house out. She was a dealer or something. Hey, Anita. But there's a little, this is a very old rug, judging from the materials, because it's not all wool. There's a lot of cotton and a lot of leftover stuff. Don't worry, it's not a silk stocking mat or anything like that. But it's got this part at the back of it. See that? That giant piece of burlap. And the woman who sold, I'll show it to you closer up. It's a bit heavy. She said, oh, it's like a sampler on the back. They were practicing their stitches. And I was like, no, it's not a sampler. Somebody did a very crude repair. Very crude. But you see how they did that? They actually, and this is a good way to repair a rug. They used burlap, so it's an old repair. But a good way to repair a rug is put a second backing onto it, stitch it down. You usually stitch it diagonally, but this worked. This worked fine. And then I'll show you the front where the repair is. Then you hook through the burlap that is okay. So you sew on burlap that's in better shape. And then with that, you hook it through there instead of where the hole was. So you're creating backing where no backing was before. You don't have to rehook the whole area, but where did it go, that little devil? There it is. It's still sketchy, but this part here is where they did the repair, not the open part, but the red part is what we saw, the red on the back. So this must have been wide open at some point. And somebody along the way stitched on a piece of burlap just with sewing thread on the back, and then went right through to the bottom layer of burlap and pulled up loops that were a similar color to try to make it match. Look who wants to join the party. Buttons the dog, Buttons the pain, trying to kill people in the backyard, starting with the post lady, right? No, he secretly loves her. So those are my finds for the day, and I was quite happy with them, and I'm waiting for a little bit more information about what pattern sews might be. Had another breakthrough 5 minutes ago. Before I forget, let me tell you this, just in case you watched the episode the other day where we were kind of brainstorming about things to do other than, he's cute. I know he's cute. He's a little Yorkie. He's just a little fireball. And he barks a lot, but not when he's with my mom. With mom, he is great. Here, he's like a feral animal. But remember we were talking the other day about things that you could do besides rugs, like 3-dimensional things. I did the pumpkin patterns. We talked about some seasonal stuff that is something other than a rug if you're not in for a rug, but you want to do some little thing. And then somebody came up with dummy boards, and then we started brainstorming for the next 2 days. What do you do with the wood under the dummy board so it doesn't like rot or deteriorate the fabric? And literally 5 minutes before I sat down here, somebody wrote me on the Facebook page, Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. And she wrote, this is Christine Simpson. Thank you, Christine. She writes, Deanna, in one of your coffee chat sessions, you mentioned looking for a product to seal wood that would not have adverse effects on fabric. And I have a suggestion. Golden GAC, GAC 500. That sounds serious, right? This is an archival art product that seals wool from acid and tannin and dries very quickly with no odor, unlike shellac. There are other GAC products as well that might be effective for a dummy board. So again, this product is called Golden GAC GAC 500. Elizabeth says, have you seen the book American Hooked and Sewn Rugs? But yes. I had both of them right here. I moved them because I had them out the other day when we were talking about the Hutchinsons history, starting with bed rugs, which predates. Yes, I'll take them out this coming week. I have both of them. There's two, and there's similar info in both. But yes, let's look at those next week. We looked at just like 4 pages of them because they had a few of the Hutchinson rugs in them. But Elizabeth is talking by the books by Joel and Kate Kopp. If you remember the Hutchinson episode, Joel was like an antique dealer, and Kate was something like a graphic designer or a clothing designer or something in the 60s, 70s. They started with the first exhibit, the first formal exhibit of hooked rugs at the American Folk Art Museum in New York. And they wrote a book that became the definitive at that time collection of different styles of not just hooked rugs, but like Elizabeth is saying, bed rugs, needlepoint rugs, yarn rugs, knitted rugs, all the kinds of rugs historically that you get, as well as hooked rugs, but with a huge emphasis on hooked rugs, because unlike the other rugs, not all styles of rugs had a peak and had the staying power like hooked rugs did several times. So we know more about hooked rugs because there are more hooked rugs. And April says, I'm working on a quilly Christmas tree. small but so cute. So April, are you doing so Quilly? If you know what paper quilling looks like and you don't know Quilly's the same thing. It's when you use a strip of wool and you turn it into a little circle, like a little curled up caterpillar. You know when they get scared and they curl up, little centipede, and then they come out like a circle and you stitch them secure and you use them flat and hook around them in your piece. Lily says, I was trying to find the hobby magazine. Can't find it. December 1954. You mean the one with the Hutchinsons? I can always scan. You know what I'll do? Because it's just the cover and then it's just 4 more pages. I'll scan those pages and I'll put them up on the Facebook page. I'll do that. Because it could be hard to find it. When you find it, it's probably going to be like 15 just for the one. April says you glue and pin them onto a styrofoam cone. Oh, so it's like a 3-dimensional. Very cool. Quilly is a really neat thing. I have not done it. I've seen it done. I've seen combos. I've seen Quilly mats that are just a bunch of the little circles. Here he comes, all put together. But April, let us know how it goes with that, because I'd be really curious to see that. I've seen lots of the wool trees with the sort of raggedy wool that look very, very quaint. Cushing sells them. Door Mill sells them as kits. But April, I have not seen a Quilly anything yet as a Christmas decoration. So I would love to see that. I remember when I went to Margaret's place, I think it was called River Mill Rugs or something in Northampton, Mass. The photo that I used for that video on this channel was a Quilly mat that she had happened to had out there from years before. It's such a cool, different angle, playing with wool, but not doing it the traditional way. Why not try something different, right? Thank you. I'm so glad you're enjoying the videos. So I also wanted to tell you, speaking of doing things in the not traditional way, because I was on this rug quest today, I did not get a lot of time to work on my sweater rug, but I added a little bit late night and early this morning to the pumpkin guy. And for those of you that didn't catch yesterday's episode, I'm hooking this with sweaters that somebody dropped off at the house. Hey, Lily, you're so funny. You love everything. It's actually sweaters. And again, I'm going to say it. I said it yesterday. I sound like a broken record. It hooks beautifully. It's so cushy and dense and soft. It's amazingly pleasant to hook with. And somebody asked, I got a lot of questions since yesterday about using recycled sweaters, because it is thrift season. All the new fall and winter stuff is out at the thrift stores. It's a good time to go wipe up the floor with these kinds of things. Buy them all, put them in your cart, run out the door, pay for them, run out the door and bring them home and cut them to shreds, because this treasure trove of stuff that this woman sent me, this is just like a little kid sweater, or maybe it was a small sweater that she just washed. Everything's washed. Yeah, right, Jennifer? She sent, I mean, it's like bags and bags and bags. So she already had it cut up and washed. And like so many people, she obviously bought a ton with a great idea, like probably doing wool applique pillows and stuff. But at the end of the day, she's already given me 6 or 7 garbage bags and she's got more. So at the end of the day, you know how this goes. If you're the kind of person who just keeps buying supplies to stall from actually starting the thing that you don't know how to do yet, and there's such a big speed bump or learning curve, you just keep buying supplies and it feels like you're moving forward, but then you end up having a TV show filmed at your house because you've been hoarding and you can't make your way to the bathroom anymore. They need to cut a wall out of the house to get you out between the garbage bags, that kind of thing. But, you know, I think she was going to do some stuff with pillows and wool applique, and she probably hit the glass ceiling of that with like, not really the glass ceiling, the lead ceiling, with like, I have enough wool applique pillows and I still have 20 bags of sweater material. So it has been a real joy to hook with it. And it is so forgiving. It is more forgiving than wool. It's coming out a little camouflage, which was an accident, but I'll see if I can recover that with the mummy. And you know what else I did? Let me just wrap this up first because I get so distracted and my brain is moving too fast. I got so many messages today about hooking with the sweaters. Go for it. Do it. The answer to the question, which I was driving most of the day, so I didn't get to answer. What about cable knits? What about those? Use them. They work fine. This is a cable knit. I cut it up. It works great. It works just the same. It doesn't matter. What about ribbed edges? Cut them up, use them. I'm going to cut this one right down here, right like this. I'm going to use it just the same. It's going to work just the same. It's going to give a hair more texture and more interest. Can you use lamb's wool sweaters? Definitely. Definitely you can. I mean, in theory, you could use like acrylic sweaters. It's just the thing with the wool is you can bounce it through the wash, make it full it, right? As a verb, full it a little bit. It has a little bit more integrity and more structure. So it's going to be easier to hook. But at the end of the day, am I hand cutting the sweater? I'm using my Bliss, my little tabletop thing that does like three strips at once. I usually use my Sissics, but I just wasn't sure. There's an issue right now with the Sissics, the tray cutter that cuts like 40 or 60 at once. There's an issue right now with availability of the trays. So I was a little bit leery about using that because I didn't know for sure. She said all of these are 100% wool. I'm just not sure what the content is. If I were to put something through the Sissics that dulled it at all, I couldn't come back from that because you can't sharpen the Sissics. So I went and used my Bliss cutter, like it's a Fraser Bliss cutter, little hand cutter. And I'm cutting as I go, which prevents fraying too. Cut as you go. Don't cut like millions of noodles and have them sitting around like getting damaged before you get to use them. But I'm using that because I figure if the blade does become dull because I cut tens of thousands of strips, I can always have that sharpened, unlike the Sissics. But you could hand cut them too, for sure. Do they ravel or roll? No. Weirdly, they don't. Even the thinnest pieces, Elizabeth, don't. I mean, okay, so sometimes I get a weird cable that's very three-dimensional, like the knitting machine was working overtime, and then it might break. But I'm not getting rolling. I'm not getting rolling at all. And I highly recommended it for people who are beginning with wanting to do primitive and wanting to hook wide, like an 8 or more, and struggling with twist. For people that are having that problem, this is great because you can control the twist really well. The twist just doesn't seem to happen the way that it does with wool strips. It's very forgiving. And to be honest, if it is twisting, I'm not noticing it because the texture is so different. It's very, very, very cushy and mushy, and it's coming out. It really is such a joy. I couldn't wait to wake up this morning and come down and work on it for a little while before I had to zip. But it's really a joy. So there'll be more on this. And a couple people said, are you going to be putting out a kit? Like I said, I was, with just strips from sweaters, and I definitely am. And I'm going to put out a very expensive, inexpensive kit because I got a lot of this stuff for free. I'm going to get some more because I am lucky enough in the town I live in to have a Goodwill outlet, which is different than a Goodwill. A Goodwill outlet, you buy stuff by the pound. Everything is a certain amount of people going in right now, obviously masks, all that stuff. But when you have a Goodwill outlet near you, which most states do, you're buying by the pound and you can whack tons of sweaters in there. Nobody's going to be pulling clothing with moth holes out of your hand, beautiful cashmere and wool sweaters out of your hand because they don't want them. They can't resell them or flip them or use them. So you can avoid a couple of holes or even many holes and still use the beautiful wool from it to hook directly. Elizabeth, what's my foundation? My foundation is monk's cloth here. I am a monk's cloth girl. I like linen too, but monk's cloth is always my favorite. And I'm using monk's cloth with this because it was the first time I was hooking with a knit. And when I hook with yarn, I use monk's cloth because I feel it's very tight. And it's just, I feel a bit more sure about pulling sock yarn and lace yarn and thin yarn through. I thought I might have a similar problem with the sweater, not expecting it to have so much bounce and fullness to it. So I could have easily done this on linen, but for me, monk's cloth is always my go-to, and it's working great on monk's cloth. No issue with pulling it through because it's so stretchy on its own. It wants to come through. Even weird little ends and sewn parts, you can pull those things through too. Hello, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I do use rug warp. I love rug warp too. I don't talk about it often because I stock, as far as selling stuff, patterns and kits and stuff, I stock linen, which I get from Michelle Miccarelli. She's like down the street from me and a good buddy. And I get my monk's cloth from Searsport. So Searsport also has beautiful linen. I know Haley at Loop by Loop uses a Searsport linen, and that is beautiful linen too. Really beautiful. But I don't stock rug warp, and maybe I should. Maybe next time I go to Door, I should get a quantity of it so I can offer that too, because it's less expensive and it works great. Rug warp would work great with recycled sweater hooking. It really would. It's such poly rug warp, anything that's that tight is going to hold, anything is going to hold the sweaters great, because as soon as they pull up into a loop, they open and they're nice and fat and they fluff out immediately, and they meet each other, on the surface, and they just settle. Like, they immediately settle. I'm not going to block this or anything. I'm just going to leave it like this because this is great texture. And it reminds me of when you think about the now Canadian school of hooking, which is more. I'll stock some rug warp. People are asking more and more for it, so I'll definitely stock some. I definitely will. I'll get on that. Honestly, next week I'll just order a bolt or something so I can offer that as well. When you want something from me or you order a pattern, just let me know and send a note, because I'm always happy. I've got some rug warp upstairs, so I'm always happy to do stuff like that. Can't wait to try hooking with sweaters. Linda, me too. I want to do another pattern. I'm just thinking about what it'll be, but I will put together a very inexpensive kit with pre-cut strips of many, many colors, and it will probably be a primitive design. You give me your input too. There's been a few people asking for it. Maybe I'll do a few. I was thinking of doing a very traditional but colorful variation on a primitive classic basket, right? Classic basket, maybe with big fat flower, mum color flowers or something for fall. Or maybe something with cornucopias. We keep coming back to that, the symbol of abundance. It's such a nice word this time of year. There's a few things that I've got in my head, but if you have a special idea or request for a great design to do with recycled sweaters, knowing that they come in all these crazy, my colors are not good right now because it's nighttime, but every color under the sun: plum, mustard, ochre, burgundy, grape, lilac, sage, celery. Everything is down at my feet right now. This has been a wonderful project. And I'm not going to stop at 7:30, so you can ditch me if you want, but we've barely started here. I want to stay on a little bit longer. I would also love a sweater kit. Great, Margaret. I'll mention it here when I put them out, and I'll put some out on the Facebook page too, but I'll let you know during coffee time or cocktail time immediately as soon as I have a pattern. That'll be one of my projects over the weekend. So do you remember when I said, I was just going like full hog on this with different stuff, using the sweaters here. And then remember yesterday, I had that huge bucket, 4 pounds of black walnuts from the neighbor's yard. You like the basket idea? I feel like I've got to do a basket. I'll do a couple, but maybe I'll offer 3. So there's a good choice, but one of them will have to be a basket because that's just the classic, but it will be a different basket and it'll be full of cool colors. My basket, my big bucket of 4 pounds of black walnuts from the neighbor's yard. I still have stuff out there. I took it out. It's quite dark brown. I'm doing a controlled experiment and it's soaking wet. So I'll show you on Monday at coffee time. We'll record, of course, but I'll show you the no citric acid versus putting citric acid in to see if it holds the color a little bit better. It's dark and it might be even darker. So I'm anxious to see how that comes out. Lily says, I want one, but coffee time, but I can't make it all the time. I'll message you, Lily. And all of these videos are always available after too. You can always watch them after. But remember, I went and got some gauze, like medical gauze, not the sticky stuff, the stuff that you would use to wrap your arm to make a tourniquet or something. They sell it super cheap at the pharmacies. And I threw this into the black walnut bucket for about 5 seconds. And you see how dark this came out? This is medical gauze, and I'm going to hook with it, and I'm going to hook the mummy with it. I made this. This is a whole little roll of black walnut, and I'm going to do a roll of tea dyed, and I'm going to do a third roll. I'm going to combine all 3 rolls into his mummy body. Your walnut dye must become a new background, black shade. Right, Linda? I was thinking that too. It's such a good dark background. To come up with like an antique brown to complement all the antique black variations I'm doing would be a very fun project. It's just nice to dye with natural stuff. It smells so earthy. I mean, it doesn't smell good, but it smells so earthy, that bucket of rotting walnuts. It is really neat to play with. So I'm going to have the black walnuts going into the mummy body, the medical gauze. I'll tell you if this shreds like crazy, but it doesn't seem like it's going to. I think I'm going to be able to hook with this like it's anything else, just for his body. And the tea, and then I have a third bucket going. It's a bucket full of rusty nails. There's a drink for you, right? and other rusted stuff. I have a bucket of rusted stuff in, and you just leave all your rusted garbage in a bucket, let it take the color, and then you throw whatever it is you want to dye in there. That's another natural dye that you can do. All right, let me wet my whistle for 1 second, and then I have something else to tell you. I never get enough time, right? So I have to say, we're going to do like a proper launch, but the Nancy Thomas designs have been selling like crazy today and yesterday, and I haven't particularly promoted them in a huge way. I haven't blasted out social media, but thanks, Lily. Butterflies would look good. Ooh, Brandy, I didn't know you were there. That's a great idea, butterflies, because there's a lot of oranges and rusts in these sweater combos. That's a really good idea. I think I'm going to run with that. Definitely basket and butterflies, and then I'm looking for one more. But the Nancy Thomas patterns are selling like crazy, and I'm so happy because she's one of my favorite artists, and I'm super, super, super proud to have done this licensing thing with her company, because I'm the only company right now that can do her designs, and they are phenomenal. So, Joelle, thank you for ordering the one that you did yesterday. Warmest welcome. It came out great. The pattern, and somebody else bought that pattern this morning, plus 2 other of the colonial patterns. Nancy Thomas does, you will so recognize her work. You can either go to her website, or nancythomasgallery.com, I think, or go to my website, ribboncandyhooking.com, and you'll see, it's so pretty. You'll see all of her designs. I have over 120 right now on Ribbon Candy Hooking and counting. It takes a long time to load them, and there's a lot of images, but I've got all of the colonial images, all of the fall images, tons of fall images. So I hook her name in the piece. Joelle, it's your piece. Joelle's asking because she ordered Warmest Welcome, which is a beautiful colonial scene I showed yesterday of a revolutionary type character with a long corncob pipe in front of a tavern of a white swan. And there's like another shadowy figure in the doorway, another colonial kind of a Minuteman type character. You can make it any color coat you want. You can give it the red one for the British, or you can give it the blue ones for the future Americans. But it's a great pattern. And the thing with the patterns is because Nancy Thomas is a very well-known artist, her name appears in the composition. So legally, I am putting her name on every piece that I do. If she's written her name in any font, she does it in cursive a lot and sometimes in print, and the year, I include that in the pattern. So once you buy the pattern, it is your pattern. It's not for commercial use. It's yours. For me, commercially, I have to do with it exactly the way that it's shown and was done. So I stay true to the original, but it's yours now. So you interpret it however you interpret it. Make sure you love it. That's the main thing. Hello, Cynthia. The weight. Okay, funny you said that, because look what's behind me. So to properly introduce the Nancy Thomas line in the store, Ribbon Candy Hooking, I love to see you chatting with each other. It's such a good feeling. I love it. This is the weight. This is one of her really famous patterns. She did so many series, Nancy Thomas, of seasons and months, and also days of the week. She had 4 seasons. She did a children's series. This is part of the children's series every month. She did the original series, which is called Gallery Grand, just the originals. She did a nature series where all 12 months have a nature animals, like a nature bend, animals, insects, things like that. She did one other, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but you'll see it. It's already on the website, my website, and of course hers. But this is the children's series, one of the Octobers, the weight. So I've done this one, right? I did this one quite small because I just wanted to get it done to see what it looked like hooked. I was hooking it exactly the way that her painting looks. I love the way it came out. But so for this month, I will be announcing it on my Facebook page. And I know not everybody's on Facebook, but for this month, you know how I do a giveaway each month, and sometimes it's like a pile of wool or a kit or something. This month, it's going to be the pattern for the weight. So it's larger than this. I should have written down off the top of my head what the size is. I hooked this quite small. It's a little bit larger than this. I'll write it in the description, but this will be, if you want this pattern, this will be what I'm giving away this month. Nancy Thomas, the weight. I think this is great for October. It certainly has shades of Snoopy, right? The Great Pumpkin, Linus, not Snoopy. He was riding on his doghouse defeating the Red Baron, but Linus and Sally in the field. So cute. One girl dressed up as a witch and the other as like a little cheetah. So this is going to be, thanks. I love this too. Hey, Marie. This is going to be the giveaway this month, the patterns. So I will post here. I'll make a video saying, this is the giveaway for the month. I always do that. And then you have a chance to say that you're entering, and I'll issue you a number, and I'll tell you what the date will be, probably next Saturday, to give it away. And I'll post it in the Facebook group too. I'm going to not be strict at all about how people enter. I just need to know. I try to keep it centralized so I can find everybody and give everybody a number, because I tend to get entries all over the place. But I want to be sure everybody who wants to enter does enter, because I think this is a great way to introduce her work. I'm also working on, if I have it here, I might not have it. I'm working on devils. Where did I put devils? It was right here. Here it is. I haven't made any progress on this, and I love this too. She did 3 that were really different. The weight is the October one. Halloween, because she's more like Thanksgiving, Christmas with her holiday stuff, and also spring, Easter. But she did the weight, and she did one called Witches, which is very similar, not in composition, but in energy to, it's on the website. It's on my website now, to the weight. It's like 2 or 3 girls dressed up as witches, but splashes of color, very graphic, really vivid. And then this is the third one. I've shown you this one before, I'm sure, but I haven't made any progress on this. This is Devils. And this one is my favorite. It's a devil laying down, very comic. The question is, are they wearing masks? They've got antlers. It's very, very, it's got a historical look to it. It's funny. There's skulls. There's a weird bat over here on the edge. But this one's called Devils, and a crow on the shoulder or a raven. I just love this one. It's not necessarily Halloween. On the website, they changed the name to Little Devils to make it, I think, more marketable, for people that maybe didn't like the word devils, but it is what it is. It's a very comic, very colorful, vivid, energetic, with this giant pumpkin face. I mean, it's just such a neat pattern too. But she's got a lot of beautiful fall ones. Where is Ribbon Candy Hooking? Okay, so my name's Deanna David. And the company name is Ribbon Candy Hooking. So the website is ribboncandyhooking.com, and it goes to a Shopify, right? That's what I use as my platform. And then we have let's do this again, definitely. Is anyone else's video a little wonky? Did you go wonky, April? Oh, no. Oh, no, your video looks wonky too? Oh, man, don't tell me this is going to start up again with all of the extra internet. We'll see. Hopefully some people are still looking sharp and clear. Yeah, I'm pixelated. Oh, man. I hate it when I'm pixelated. If I'm pixelated, I want to feel pixelated. Just kidding. Uh-oh, that's bad. That must be our cue. Well, we normally go half an hour. So since we're all pixelated in hazy daisies, that's a bummer. Strange wavy image. Where does that come from? Does anybody know where that comes from? Is that in internet? That must be an internet thing for me. Very pixelated. It's fine except for your shirt and fabric patterns. Maybe my face needs to be down there. Wonky but bearable. All right. Well, we'll have another drink. Exactly. We'll sign off. I had a few more things I wanted to do with punch and stuff. You know what? Let me just say this about punch, pixelated or not. Good. I'm glad you can at least hear me. I want to get back into the punch thing, because we got into it a little bit last week, and people are asking questions about punching. I had some left-handed punching questions this week off of the page. Yeah, can you get off the internet there? I think the more internet that's on, let's see if that helps. The 2 kids are probably upstairs on their phones or whatever. They've got tablets. Let's see if that's better. But I've gotten a lot of punch questions, and we'll do a whole episode next week on punch, right? I have my punch hoop out. People are asking about punch hoops and stuff. But what I do want to tell you that is timely, and latch. I know Lily loves the latch. I'm going to get back to that too. One thing, I'm not going to show this book, but this is the book I mentioned on punch. This is the Amy Oxford definitive book on punch. So I referenced this the other day with punching with frames. This is the definitive Amy Oxford Punch Needle Rug Hooking Techniques and Designs by Amy Oxford. And the thing that I want to leave you with, we're getting spammed again, is this. Remember the episode I did last week or the week before about the Mcadoo rugs and how Amy Oxford has the whole collection of Mcadoo rugs? I just want to tell you, just in case you love that and you're interested in that, I want to tell you, it's good to see you too. I hate being pixelated. I just want to tell you right now on eBay, for I think one more day or 2 more days, there is a Mcadoo rug. They are incredible, Mcadoo. They are incredibly hard to find, incredibly scarce, rare, collectible. It's at about $150 something right now with lots of bidders. I'm sure it'll shoot up. But the Mcadoo rugs are the ones that Amy Oxford owns, just like Cushing has the Pearl McGowns. I've got the Nancy Thomas. Amy Oxford has the Mcadoos. They are extremely beautiful and collectible, and I did an episode about them. If you want to check eBay, there is a beautiful one of a house with like violets outside of it, and it's gorgeous. So if you want to bid on that, I think you've got about 24 hours left to do that. Good to see you all. Happy Friday. We'll try to fight the pixelization next time. Have a great weekend. Heard book is just an update. Thank you. So glad to see you all on Cocktail Hour. We will do this next Friday. In the meantime, we will do coffee time Monday through Wednesday. On Thursday, I'm going to introduce Zoom, SOS Zoom. So I'll be putting out a Zoom number. If you want to Zoom, we can get like 100+ people into the Zoom. If you want to show what you're working on, talk to me. Let me see you. Let me see what you're working on. Get help with something you're working on. If I know the answer, I'll help. If not, I'll tell you someone better. But we'll do that on Thursday. So Monday through Wednesday, coffee time. For this group, I will see you. Cheers, my dears. Next Friday for cocktail time. New cocktail next week. Have a great weekend. Oh man, I hope I wasn't pixelated.